Okay, you were talking about first memory.
Pratt, Kansas was my about my earliest memories, and that was a farm in Kansas where we uh, we kind of interloped on the local folks because my dad was in the service,
Hmm.
and they put us up for quite some time, and we lived on the farm with him and his family.
With who in his family?
His father's family, yeah, his family's
Our grandfather?
the
No.
The farmer in
Farm.
Kansas and his
yes,
family.
Oh,
yes,
okay. All right, got it.
yes, and that was my first real understanding of what farms were. It wasn't a very big farm, but he had some cattle and a corral where he kept some of them,
Hmm.
and and a windmill. My Mr. Shanley would take me out to the house, out of the house to where the windmill was, and he would say, "It's not turning. Why don't you blow on it?" And I would blow, and I'd blow really hard, and the wind would pick up, and the windmill would actually turn. It gave me quite a feeling of power, which I've never had again. But it lasted for a while. I was 3 years old by that time, so
Mr.
I saw other windmills turning.
Mr. Henley is his name.
What?
What was his name?
Shanley.
Shanley.
Yeah, I forget his first name, but Shanley was the family name.
The farmer.
Yeah.
You know how it was spelled?
What?
How was it spelled? Do you know?
How was he what?
How was
Spelled.
Shanley spelled?
Spelled.
Bill Shanley, I think.
Okay.
Uh, but remember, I figured that out years later because I never saw it in writing and wouldn't have recognized it if it had. So I was not quite 3 at that point, so I wasn't doing a lot of reading.
Well, you were born. What's your birthday?
October 17th, 1942.
1942. So that would have been before or after Richard was born, do you think?
Before Richard was born. Rich was born in 45, Jim in 47, so I had 3 year advantage on Rich and 5 on Jim.
Having been born in 1947, I called it my advantage.
Well,
Well, you were entitled to that.
Richard was born in Laredo, Texas, so you were living in Laredo by then. You'd left Kansas, right, and gone to Texas.
Right, I was alone in Kansas. That's right.
Alone, well, alone as in no siblings.
Yeah,
Yes, your parents were there.
with my mother and with the Shanley family. That was basically it, and a dog named Shep.
Ah,
Yeah,
well, grandmother and granddaddy Lindsley had a dog. Was that their dog named Shep, or did we get a dog named Shep?
I don't remember a dog named Shep. I don't remember a dog there, but there could have been.
No, I mean, years later, after I was born, there was a dog named Shep somewhere in there.
I can't recall it. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I don't recall it much either, except that name rings a bell. and as I recall, it was a dark-colored collie, or collie-like
I
animal.
do vaguely remember a dog there, but I don't remember her name or anything.
Well, we also had a light-colored collie dog. And I'm thinking Shep may have been grandmother and granddaddy Lindsley's dog when they lived over on 44th Street in Little Rock. The big, tall, white
That could
house.
be, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Pal. Pal was the name of our collie, the light-colored
Pal.
blonde.
Pal, yeah.
Pal. Blonde,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Anyway, back to 1940, whatever it was.
I was born in 42, so it had to
44 then, wasn't it? Because
Probably.
Richard was born in 43 January.
45.
be
I'm
45.
sorry, 45.
Yeah.
So January 45, so it had to have been 44 if that was before he was born. So I guess, was Mom pregnant at that time when you were blowing windmills? Or did you know that type of thing back then?
I wasn't aware that she was pregnant at that time, no.
Okay.
There were a lot of things in those days that I missed, even after I was born. Certainly the things before I was born hardly register at all to me. But
Then you went
Yeah.
exploring from the farm.
well, yeah, I did.
About what age?
Same.
I was probably around 3 at that point, so that would have been before Rich, but not a whole lot before. And the Shanley's farm was on a hill. I mean, the farmhouse was on a hill and sloped driveway down to the road. And I just wandered off one day. I knew there was a town close by and I wanted to see it. So I started walking in what I thought was the right direction and got some distance, I'm not sure how much, but a man came along in a car and saw me, and he was a mail courier, so he had a good idea where I lived, and he took me on his round for 1 or 2 minutes or so, I don't know how long, and then he took me back. And I'm not sure that anybody ever noticed that I was gone. With the farm and a mother who's pregnant for another kid, there were other matters to
Right.
accompany their mind at that point. But they found out I was gone when I came back, and I heard about that for a while.
Yeah.
You probably did.
I don't recall any punishment for it, but there could have been some, I guess.
Well, now it was just you and Mom and the Shanleys at the farmhouse.
Yeah, the Shanleys included, however, a son who must have been, and I'm really guessing here, he was probably early 20s. And name was Clifford. And the dog was pretty much his, I think, as much as a family dog. But he didn't pay a lot of attention to me, but I can't say I blame him. he paid more attention to the dog, and he played the piano a little bit.
Did your dad ever get to come visit? Or was he strictly training all the time?
I think he was training most of the time. I don't remember seeing him until later. I must have seen him before we left the Shanleys, but I don't remember it. I just don't. It's one of a couple of thousand things I don't remember.
Don't feel bad about it. I hardly remember anything from when I was that young. I can't think of anything I remember having been that young.
Yeah. I don't remember when I started walking, for example. I don't remember when I started talking. But they both must have happened before I wandered off, headed down this road. But this was a bigger occurrence than walking or talking, I think, in my mind.
Did they have any other animals around the farm?
Not that I recall. Well, they had cattle.
A cow?
I don't know how many.
Brown cows?
It wasn't a big deal farm the way a lot of them are today, but but if they were serious about farming, they did have a cow, at least one, probably more. But
You know what color they were?
British, I think, but I'm not sure.
What did the house look like?
Big. I mean, I was 3 years old or younger, so big was about all that occurred to me. I didn't.
Color?
Reddish.
The house was reddish?
The cow.
Oh, no, okay. I'm talking about the house.
That I don't remember. Could have been yellow, but I'm not sure if that's true. I don't know why I think we're yellow, but except a lot of them were.
How big was it? Was it 2-story, 1-story, or?
A couple stories.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, how big? How many stories?
2, I think.
Okay.
When I envision it, I think of a fairly typical Midwestern house, farmhouse. High gables, and I think of yellow as a color because I saw a lot of them who were yellow, but I don't recall about the Shanleys.
Did it have a porch?
Yeah, had a porch.
Describe the porch.
It was outside.
That was good. I'm glad it was.
It makes sense, yeah.
Was it a 2-story porch with a railing around the top, or was it just a?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I didn't have occasion to look up much,
At 3 years old. So, well, let me ask you this: what color was the foundation?
I truly don't know, but I think the house was painted a yellow color. But I can't swear to it. I didn't really know yellow from blue or red or green at that point.
Maybe it was just a yellowed look from the photographic finish after it had been on it for years. You know.
It could easily have been a yellowed look. A lot of houses, even today, look yellow when they're white.
Well, let me ask you this: what about the land around there? Was it mountainous? Was it hilly? Was it a lot of trees? Or
It was
describe
hilly. As I said, the house was on a hill with the drive road down to the road, and a lot of the ground around it was fairly hilly too. I can't tell you how much of it because I didn't get to much of it. But from those 2 or so trips away from it, when I went out on my own, there seemed to be hills around. But, I'm somewhere below the age of 3 at that point, so
Okay.
I'm lucky to remember that I was me back then.